a very late welcome to the Focus Shed. It's 11:30 on Thursday night. I've only been in here since 7 o'clock getting this ready, so hope you enjoy it. Lots coming up in the show. I'm going to be looking at my team very quickly and my dilemmas, what I'm focusing on this week, looking at some dilemmas that people have suggested on Twitter as well. And I've got a fantastic contribution coming up for you from Dhanesh, a new member of the league. So that'll be really great to share with you, because it's some really good insight and great information about defense. So if you're looking at defensive options this week, some great info there. Right, so let's start off. Oh, by the way, stick around right at the end of the show. I've got an amazing tweet that I've seen today from FPL Rabbi, and it's a team that you've never seen anything like it before in FPL. If you have, send it me, because I shall share it, because it's something else. All right, let's get on with the show. So here's my team for the week then. Haven't done my transfer as yet. I'm probably going to be looking at transferring Lamptey out. I'm going to do it tomorrow, just with the way things have been going, with things like coronavirus and things like that, causing a bit of a spanner in the works, basically. But yeah, no, I'm happy with the rest of my team. I'm not touching my attack whatsoever. That's been a tactical change along the way, and I've got a bit of a dilemma in that I've got two City, Chelsea, and a Chelsea defender over here, but let's hope for a high-scoring game, with Chilwell assisting and getting in on the act in those scores with those two. But no, it's defence for me, as you see from my the players I've been watching this week. FantasyFootballFix.com. I'm all right on price moves for tonight, so I definitely won't be doing anything tonight. But this is what I've been watching. I'm watching for replacing Mitchell as well, possibly next week. I just want to be a bit patient up front, but we'll see what happens this weekend. You never know. But definitely defence is my focus this week. So that's my focus. What has everybody else been focusing on, wanting to know about? Danny FPL Manager asked, should I bench Chilwell? Well, the answer for me on that one, quite easily for me, is no. We don't know who's getting clean sheets very much this season. I think is it 3 the maximum clean sheets anybody's got, maybe 4. It's attacking returns that you're looking for, and he's in a team that's in fine form, and form arguably is outweighing fixtures a little bit at the moment, in my opinion. Just with it being so topsy-turvy, fixtures being so hard to predict. I'm not saying we discount fixtures, of course not. And we'll see more of that later in the show with what I'm thinking of doing. FPL stats, City assets, none in good form, whilst the high-value players I own are in good form. So I'm looking at the smaller priced, Foden, Torres, Cancelo to come in for Zaha or Cody. Lots of head scratching, yeah. Me too, mate. Well, first thing, I think Foden and Torres, just not enough minutes, not enough guaranteed. They're this season's pep roulette. They're young players coming through. I had Foden in my team at the beginning of the season. At some point, it looks like they'll stick. Foden particularly, like sooner than Torres, possibly. Aguero back in training. Jesus there as well. Not too sure on that one, to be honest with you. I think that there's better options for Zaha, and I'll come to that in a moment, because it's the first thing that FPL Enigma has mentioned as well, is Zaha. And he's also asking about Salah. Obviously, lots of people got rid of him last week. What to do about that? Vardy, lots of people bringing Leicester assets in, some great fixtures. What to do about selling Spurs? Whether to buy City, and then the best 4.5 million defender. Well, that's a pretty tricky one, the 4.5 million defender. But we have got a big defensive analysis at the end with a large contribution, like I say, from Dhanesh coming up at the end, my friend. So we'll work our way towards that. So first, let's go and have a look. Let's go to the slides. So let's stick my neck on the line then and see who I'm going to recommend as the signing to replace Zaha. And it is Diogo Jota. He's playing more games for Liverpool. He's getting goals. Here's his heat map. This is so he's playing up top, as we know anyway. But he's just playing off the left. He's playing off the right. He's playing in the middle. And he looks hungry. He's young. It didn't look so good by the sounds of it. Didn't get to see the game without him against Atalanta until he came on later on. But here's his stats in the last 3 games. 8.88 points per game, 888. 3 goals. I just think that, and I've said this in my last video, any player that gets goals gets games. It's as simple as that. And he was in the team that played really well the other night up against Leicester. There is a debate to be had whether Leicester turned up or not. But Liverpool, to all intents and purposes, were playing pretty well. So his form's pretty good. And if Liverpool aren't playing, I think he's going to get minutes in the game anyway, for definite. So at 6.6 million, bear in mind Zaha's 7.3. I think it's a really tough choice, to be honest with you. Where to go with other than that, really, at a lower price. I mean, Liverpool have got the fixtures: Brighton, Wolves, Fulham. Tottenham's a tricky one. Crystal Palace, West Brom. So I'm just going to give Diogo Jota Livesey Lovesit rating of 4 blue hearts, 6.7 million, I think now. Still great value. And he's the one I'm watching if any of my midfield sort of £8 million players are not pulling their weight. James Rodriguez, Ziyech, Grealish. He's the player at the moment in time that I'll be watching. Let me know what you think. Have you got a better option? Let's share it. Still a few hours to go. So while we're talking about Diogo Jota, we might as well talk about Mo Salah, who last week was obviously out, but he's back. We know how well he plays. There's his heat map. Same stats as last week, 8.39 points. This is the season to date for Mo. And we all know what Mo can do. He's a great player. Although he didn't manage it in midweek in his first game back, but great scores. Just goes to show how well Jota's been doing in the last 3 weeks. Just over 8 points as well. At almost £6 million cheaper as well. Hence the high rating for Diogo Jota. Same fixtures. But Salah this week, if you're looking to bring back in a premium player, he's still four blue hearts, just because of the performance last week and because of the price, really. At 12 point, probably I think it's 12.2 million now. Nothing to do with his ability. Based on ability, if he's your long-term type, for the whole season, then absolutely. He may well be back in my team. Who knows? But I don't say you bring him back in if you don't need to. I think this is the man to bring in this week. Jamie Vardy. It's no secret. Look at his season map on the penalty spot. I'm not surprised. His heat map, and he hangs around the penalty spot waiting for those runs. I was a bit dubious about recommending Jamie Vardy, but this is his last 3 game weeks, 8.24 points per game. They've got the fixtures. He's getting his shots away, shots in the box, big chances. 3 shots in the box, nearly 2.5 shots on target per game, and he's got 3 great fixtures. My only worry with Vardy is there's 3 tougher fixtures after that. If it's a short-term thing, then okay. But then he scored again tonight. I'm concerned about his age as well. He's 34 now, and I've read reports where he's having to use his energy at the right time. And when you start hearing reports like that, you just start to wonder, The Premier League's so intense, you know, 5% is a lot to drop off, isn't it? And it can have a massive effect on players. Jamie Vardy, you know, he tends to not get that many attempts, but be very decisive when he does. But they are playing against Fulham. They are conceding loads in the box. Enigma's slides from last week. Remember reading about that, and I was debating whether to put Dom as my captain last week. And then Dom had a massive return last week. So based on that, this week, this man, Jamie Vardy, my question there, he gets a 5 blue heart rating, because I think this week he's gonna bring it home, and there's no reason why he's not going to carry it on for a good few weeks yet, to be honest with you. Scored tonight, like I said. I haven't seen the final results. I've been busy prepping. So that brings us to whether we should sell Spurs players or not. Well, as you've just seen, I've recommended Jamie Vardy on a 5 blue heart rating system. But it's not something I'm going to be doing this week. It's not for me. I think it's a like for like. More than likely, Jamie Vardy is going to outscore Kane this week. You know, I accept that, and possibly over the next couple of weeks. But it's not like a major crisis part of my team. So I'm trying to be a bit more patient and not just be chasing points and transferring players out that are good this season. I think I've done that previously. I might get it wrong. Tell me in the comments below if you think I should. But for me, I'm holding on to those, like I've said before. So no, there'll be no selling from me. Right. Also, bear in mind, let me just show you these when it comes to some sort of stats. Goal threat, key stats. When it comes to points, Chelsea and Spurs are the ones that are delivering most of the points up there. Look at that. I don't want to be throwing away a team. Look at West Ham, Southampton. Lots of points, bonus points. Chelsea, Spurs getting the lots of them. So worth holding on to. Expected assists, Spurs 9.61. Not every game's been easy for them so far. 11.32 expected goals. This is over the last 6 games. So I just don't think they're players to be getting rid of just yet. What was next? Buy City players. Right, let's have a look. Let's go back to the slides. So this is the only one I would buy at the moment in attack, building on from the tweet before from FPL Stats. Is Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think there's anything new there really, in terms of, there's no big secret. He's the player that's playing lots of games. The only disappointing thing is, and why it's up for debate, is because of his performance. This is the last 3 games, 11 points in 3 games. Maybe he's due a haul, but he got 2 assists midweek, which means maybe he's back on form up against Marseille. So, and I just think with City, I mean, it's got to turn. I mean, City post lockdown were just absolutely phenomenal. I remember the commentary that, you know, City, this is meant for City, able to play calm football, passing football, and just nobody could get near them after the first lockdown. But that's just not materialised so far this season. But maybe Burnley, Fulham's the time for it, and as a result, I think my Lovesit rating for Kevin De Bruyne this week, whether to sign him or not, he was a 3 last week with Spurs, but I think taking into account lots of people signing him as well, so that is a factor whether you like it or not. Certainly on your rank, he gets a Lovesit rating this week of 4 blue hearts. He's a world-class player, can turn up in any game. Just needs the players around him to be performing. It's not like he's not been creating the chances. He's having 2 shots in the box per game. Over 4 shots, 4 shot touches in the box, loads of final third passes. No, it's not expected points. His expected points are 6.34, so that just shows you that people aren't finishing off what he's doing. So Sterling's back on the act this midweek as well. So yeah, I 4 blue hearts for me for Kevin De Bruyne. A good signing. Any time usually. Just let me down earlier in the season, but he can't carry that on. The last point enigma, best 4.5 defender. Well, let's go and have a look and see at some defensive options, because I've been looking at defense this week, and one of the things I've been looking at is points in the last 3 game weeks, and per 90 minutes, average points. Top of the leaderboard is Hector Bellerin for Arsenal, and everybody's talking Zuma, everybody's talking about Chilwell. I don't hear much about Bellerin on the cards, so low ownership as well. So City aren't great. Fortunately for me, I've got a new member to the league who's an Arsenal fan, and he's been able to share his inside information, and I'm going to share that with you now as well, guys, because he's done some analysis for us on defensive options. He's had a great rank finish. His best rank finish is 1023, so he's done well along the way, and great to have him in the league and wanting to share him. This is what I'm looking to do as part of the show. If I want to talk about certain players, go to different supporters from different teams, get inside information, and as well as get views from people who don't support those teams as well. Particularly non-Premier League team supporters who may not have any bias whatsoever. Let's have a look then at what Dhanesh has sent us. So this is what Dhanesh has sent in, and his post focuses on the Arsenal defence and Hector Bellerin in particular, and whether he's a viable option to consider in our FPL teams, especially now that Dean's out for a long spell as of today as well. Gutted. One of my favourite players. Anyway, are Arsenal defensively solid enough to warrant an inclusion in our Premier League teams? Well, the very first thing Dhanesh wants to highlight that is the fact that attack-wise, that Arsenal haven't scored in 8 hours. So looking at their attacking options is probably not the best option at the minute. Any Aubameyang owners out there, take note. A lot of money sat in your team. When it comes to defensive options, Dhanesh says he'd rather go with full-backs as opposed to centre-backs. That's the same with me, really. I've got Kilman in my team, but I want to drop him to the bench just because he's a good value player. For the bench, playing in a semi-decent back line. There's more opportunities for getting involved in the game. And I particularly like wing-backs. If possible, and that are contributing, that are playing in good teams. So yeah, he's ignored the likes from Arsenal of Gabriel, Luiz, Holding and Tierney, although it has to be said that centre-backs are scoring highly too. Look at Konza and Zuma, for example. Arsenal have been mainly deployed in a 3-4-3 formation and occasionally have played 4-2-3-1 as well. In both formations, Hector Bellerin seems to be a nailed-on starter at right wing-back or right-back. So for 9 game weeks, it seems a lot. So for a bit of comparison, let's compare the last 4 game week stats of Bellerin along with some other attack-minded right-backs in the league. So we've got Ayling, Bellerin, Kufal, James, Lamptey, Walker-Peters, seeing those in lots of people's teams. And as you can see, Bellerin is not getting as many crosses in the box as the likes of James and Lamptey. And Kufal. He's created as many chances as Ayling, but not as many as Kufal again. Just as many as or more than Lamptey. Walker-Peters, a lot of people shooing at the beginning of the season, and he did okay, I think, in a couple of games, but I was looking at him, but he's not on the radar whatsoever anymore. But definitely good for comparison. But yeah, Dhanesh is picking out Kufal. Seems to be the pick of the lot. And I think he's 4.7. So not quite the 4.5 that you're asking for, Enigma. But I think Kufal is a good option. Our team's defending down the right flank. This is something I've not really looked at before, but this I know is somewhere I want to go with my analysis. So I'm glad you've introducing this to the show for the first time, Dhanesh. Thanks very much. What Dhanesh is saying is this table sums up the deficiencies in defending. Arsenal and Southampton are the worst in the last 4 game weeks when it comes to defending through their right flank. And these are the teams, obviously, for the players that we've just been looking at. Even last week, Leeds were unlucky not to score goals against the Gunners after hitting the stumbling block called Leno and the crossbar. And I can remember Patrick Bamford hitting the bar as well. So yeah, might be right. So who are their opponents next week and how are they attacking through the left flank? This table shows that 4 out of 7 teams have created more than a third of chances through their left flank, also known as defending the team's right flank over the past 4 game weeks. And it shows cases the fact that 6 out of the 7 teams attempted to cross predominantly through the left flank, which is really interesting stuff as well. Right, moving on. The bottom line, as an Arsenal fan, he's not yet convinced that the Gunners warrant an inclusion in our FPL team yet. The stats above have shown that Bellerin may not muster in the clean sheet points in the coming weeks, but he could be a good cog in attack along with plenty of other options. For the time being, he would certainly avoid going that route. So that's the view of Arsenal fan Dhanesh Prabhu at Sweets of a Gooner. I'll leave his link in the description below if you want to follow him. But yeah, thanks very much. Which brings me to what I think I'm going to be doing this week. And it's this man I'm recommending. And it brings me to the final part of my question about what to do about City assets from FPL stats at the beginning as well. For me, it's this man in defence alongside Kevin De Bruyne in midfield. I wouldn't be tripling up at this moment in time unless you wanted to take that punt. It's such a tricky one, as we all know. But for me, I think a defender for now. Kevin De Bruyne, if you want to go there, if you're not happy with the players you've got in your team, if you're happy with the players you've got in your team, stick with them. Kevin De Bruyne will still be there next week. But his Cancelo's heat map, he's practically playing as a winger. And you can see from his stats, touches in the box, like 3 per game. This is the last 4 games for him. Final third passes, 26 per game. Expected points, 5.69 per game. Expected assists, 0.3. Key passes, 3 per game. Big chances created, 1 every other game. So he's a player for me. I think with City's fixtures coming up that are looking good, they hopefully going to be getting some clean sheets coming up and can get some attacking returns on top. So this goes against sort of like some of the stats that I've looked at in terms of form. I am sort of like edging a little bit along the side of not wanting to be left behind on the City. Loving with the game with the fixture swinging. So he gets a rating off me, 4 blue hearts for Cancelo. Would be 5 if he'd been in the league longer, and if I was totally confident he's going to play every single game. It looks like he's nailed on, but you never know with City, obviously. Zinchenko played the other night. Mendy will be back at some point. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that tomorrow I'll be signing João Cancelo for Tariq Lamptey. So my team will look like, let's see what it looks like. Basically, Cancelo will come in here for Max Kilman. Kilman will drop to the bench. First sub, I'll have a debate about that tomorrow in my head. Brewster or Kilman as first sub. I might even go with the Brewdog first sub. He's got to get something at some point, and up against West Brom defence, why not? I can see Arsenal scoring against Wolves at the weekend, so Yeah, I'll probably go the Brewdog first sub, and then that'll be my start 11. I've currently got the armband, by the way, on Bruno Fernandes, which I did again at the beginning of the game week. And on Calvert-Lewin, looking through the rest of my team, there's no other standout options for me, really. But what I am going to do, and I haven't done as yet, I thought I'd do this on the video, is I would use the Premier Fantasy Tools Captain Suggestions tool and just see what that comes up with. Last week, I chose Fernandes, and it came up with Fernandes as well. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we? Because that's interesting. So yeah, let's have a look and see what this brings up. Yeah, you put your team number in here. If you've not used it before, guys, great site. Click add, has a little think for a second, and comes up with who your best captain choice on, considering upcoming fixture difficulty, player form, chance of playing, point performance so far this season. Let's see what it comes up with. Don't click and click it. It likes to think for a second. I'll cut this bit out. Right, here we go. I cut a bit out because it was pausing, guys. And it's Big Dom that's coming up as the #1 captain choice. Oh, see, Southampton were looking really organised the other day, to be fair. Oh, what's happened here? No, I only clicked it once. See, I don't know what to do now. What should I do, guys? It's telling me to pick an Everton player. I know it's only a guide. And but it's an algorithm. The eye test is important. But Dom's on fire. Oh, I'm gonna switch it. The algorithm was right last week. So was I, to be fair. But quite often I'm not. Yeah, let's make Big Dom the captain. No. Done. Let's go Big Dom at home to Leeds. Why not? Fernandes has had 2 back-to-back big hauls now, so 3 in a row, double digits is a lot to ask. Capable of it, obviously. Let's see what Dom can do at home. Yeah, I'm going for that. I think. I'll tweet my final team, guys. All right, I'll tweet my final team. Oh, advise me on that one, please. Tell me what you think. Right, guys. Finally, FPL Rabbi. Let me show you this, guys. Last part of the show. Told you right at the beginning I was going to show you something like never seen anything like this before. FPL Rabbi tweeted it today. It's a zombie team sitting at overall rank of 126, and zombie team, in case you're not sure what that is, basically a team that's not been touched since the beginning of the season. Is the team in game week 1. Started off with 36 points and a bench boost. You see 0 transfers, and you'll see that all the way through. This was the team at the beginning of the season. Players like Alisson who've been injured. And just watch how it goes. Next. 109 points. Next. Has he got captain on the same player every week? Kane and Alisson. Yeah, Kane and Alisson is actually just sat there completely. .61 points. Just absolutely crazy scores. And 126 rank from having one team. So, guys, everything I've said about transfers is just, yeah, forget about it. Guys, have a great game week. I'll see you soon back here in the Focus Shed. First game week preview for me, this one. If it's a little bit all over the place, forgive me. Let me know what you think I can do a bit better. And if you want to contribute and tell me about, particularly about your team, because I find that the eye test from people who watch in their own teams, because I don't get to see all the football. I see as much as I can, but, you know, I've got a family, and I got, you know, all these to try and do. I've been here doing this for like 5 or 6 hours already. Kudos to people who have been doing this a long time, by the way. It's not as easy as it looks. It's very time consuming, but it's great fun. Guys, I'm out of here. Speak to you soon. Like it, subscribe. Ta-ra.